Hello, people. I am so sorry I haven't posted any clips for quite a while. All I can say is work is full on and I get so tired, and I'm quite tired at the moment, but that's because I got in from Amsterdam yesterday in the early hours of the morning. So that was well worth it though. Loved it. Love Amsterdam. 45 minutes away by plane. And I used to live there for 3 years, so I try and go back every now and then because it just feels like a second home. But I was reading this book in Amsterdam, Always Take a Book, The Power of Awareness by Neville Goddard. And I know I've read from it before, but this is a treasure trove of information about manifesting and about the law of assumption. I really love it. And I kept reading two particular chapters over and over again, which were failure. It doesn't sound very positive. I've read that one out before, actually, failure. Just acknowledging that sometimes you may fail in your manifestations. And the main reason for failure, according to Neville Goddard, is that you have not achieved the naturalness of the feeling of the wish fulfilled. So it's all about feeling natural with your new state, that it's just totally trusting in it, believing that you already have what you desire. So that's that in a nutshell. Do you like my Blake picture? I love that picture so much. Neville Goddard was a huge fan of William Blake, the great artist and poet. And this is a picture of the ghost of a flea, which I looked at over and over again in an exhibition of William Blake recently in London. So if you see this man here, this was actually a vision that William Blake had. He had visions and he would draw what he saw in front of him. And he drew this horrible looking man who is a murderer. And he said something, I can't remember, about how the ghosts of fleas are always bloodthirsty murderers and they live within the flea. And he actually drew a picture of the flea with his mouth open as well. And he had to stop on this picture because the expression had changed. So he started working on another and there was somebody there watching him and they just totally believed he was seeing these visions and drawing them because it was just so natural. And what reason to lie? He wasn't that kind of person. I would like to do a clip on William Blake at one point, but I want to do it really well as I can. And Neville Goddard spoke about him a lot, that he really understood the principle of using your imagination to manifest in the world. And he visited people who had died and passed over and was in touch with spirits. But yeah, you might have heard a bit about him from Neville Goddard on the clips, but I will do one time. Anyway, I digress as I usually do. I hope you like my hair brown, by the way. Just wanted to change, but I will eventually go back to my slightly natural colour, but not totally, of blonde. A little bit more intelligent at the moment, don't know why. So this is chapter 25, called Faith. A miracle is the name given by those who have no faith to the works of faith. I like that quote because even Christians, they will call things miracles very easily if something is inexplicable. But if we are believing that we have received, which is what it says in the Bible to do, when you pray, believe that you receive and you shall have it, then we shouldn't really be seeing it as a miracle. It's something that God told us to do. And so we do one thing and we get another if we do it properly. So there's cause and effect going on here. The next quote on faith is my favourite one from the Bible, from the book of Hebrews, chapter 11, verse 1. Faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. So faith is like belief. Having faith in something is just believing it's going to come to pass, but it's also a substance. And if you contemplate this, you will find it's very deep and it's very true. Faith is the substance of things hoped for. So what we are actually hoping to get in our lives is composed of the substance of faith and the evidence of things not seen. It's the evidence of things not seen. So when we are imagining that we are in a particular state and that we have a particular thing, we are drawing it out of the invisible into our world through believing that it exists there already. So I think I was reading this over and over again in Amsterdam. And not just because I was in Amsterdam, if you know what I mean. It was because I felt there's a lot in there that can really help us to achieve our desires, our goals, our dreams. And I've spoken about assuming that you have what you desire. That's very important. But what about believing that everything already exists and all we're doing is pulling it out from the invisible? So I think we've got to really contemplate that, know where it's coming from. We can only know up to a certain point because it's such a mystery, really. But I think it really helps to imagine that what we really want in our lives, it's already there. It already exists. And that gives me great comfort. And, well, faith. It's like faith is the result of faith. Faith is the evidence of things not seen. So we have the feeling, the belief, the certainty, without a shadow of a doubt, that our dream, our desire already exists in the unseen. So all we have to do to achieve that is to believe that. That's it. We have to believe it's already there, it exists. And our faith in that is what brings it into objective reality, our world. So I think that's pretty deep. That's pretty profound. I was thinking about it a lot. So just tapping into your faith in that several times a day, just knowing it's there, and it makes me feel very grounded in my dream. Like just the sureness is there. I just think that's how it works. That's the process. It's all there. God has created everything. There is nothing that he has not already created in the imagination, which is him. Everything is within him. So we're drawing it out of the imagination. We're drawing it out of God. And we can imagine it because it's within us. We can imagine it because it already exists. That's what's so amazing. That's the only way we can get that feeling of what it feels like to be that person, to have that thing. Why? Because it's already there within us in some mysterious, invisible way, and we just believe it's there and it will come. Simple, isn't it? So why aren't more people doing it? I think we need to prove it to ourselves to deepen our faith, and prove it to others. And then more and more people in this world are going to realise that they have this great power within them, the most important thing that they can use to have whatever they want. And there won't be this poverty mentality then that oh, I've got to be rich, I've got to be this, I've got to enter the lottery, worries about where money is going to come from, because there will be trust that everything is attainable. And it sounds so idealistic, doesn't it? People have to make ends meet. And they do. And before things show up, because we don't know how long it's going to take before things manifest. So you do have to make ends meet, but you can still trust in the process. You can not have any worries. Just trust in the process, deal with what the imagination has already brought to you, the shadows, and just deal with that without too much worry if you can, but be imagining the next thing and having strong faith that it already exists, pardon me, it already exists, and just by believing that consistently, it's going to appear in your world. That's what I think. Hope I'm not going on too much about this, but I just feel it's an important point. So I'm going to read what Neville Goddard's written now, the most important stuff. The very reason for the law of assumption is contained in this quotation. That's faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. If there were not a deep-seated awareness that that which you hope for had substance and was possible of attainment, it would be impossible to assume the consciousness of being or having it. That's exactly what I just said. So it has to be possible because we are aware of it within us. We have everything within us. It is the fact that creation is finished and everything exists that stirs you to hope. And hope in turn implies expectation. And without expectation of success, it would be impossible to use consciously the law of assumption. So we have to expect success. We have to expect it. And by anchoring ourselves to this strong belief, knowledge that everything already exists, we will be expecting success. We will. It's just when. That's all I say. It's just when. It is going to happen. You've just got to be patient. Don't give up. Keep imagining. Imagine several things. And just keep going with a positive attitude, because I think negativity can stop it from happening. Because negativity, particularly doubt and fear, are the opposites of faith. So no matter what happens, just try and limit your negativity. It happens sometimes, but just click out of it, snap out of it as quickly as you can and balance it out. Maybe you've thought something bad about somebody. That's the most common thing, really. Just think of some positive things as well and just try and get rid of the negative feeling by putting your mind on anything of good report, as the Bible says. Don't feel bad. Put your mind on something else. Think good things about the person and then think about something else, and it's okay. Shouldn't affect it. Evidence is a sign of actuality. Thus, this quotation means that faith is the awareness of the reality of that which you assume. So it's even a bit more than that. It's not just faith that it does exist, believing it's there, it's out there, I've just got to have faith, that's all. It's an awareness of that reality. Awareness of the reality of that which you assume. So if you're assuming a certain level of confidence and like feeling very relaxed, feeling generous, feeling abundant, things that you would imagine you would feel if you had a plentiful supply of money. No need to ever worry about any more money not coming your way. Sorry, I didn't say that very well. No worries about money. How would you feel? It's an awareness of the reality of that which you assume, of what you're assuming, the feeling you're assuming, an awareness of its own reality. It's like you're touching into it as well. I mean, you're generating the feeling within you and you're aware it's there. Consequently, it is obvious that a lack of faith means disbelief in the evidence of that which you desire. So you don't really think it's out there in the invisible. You're trying to believe that, but you don't really. Inasmuch as that which you experience is the faithful reproduction of your state of consciousness, lack of faith will mean perpetual failure in any conscious use of the law of assumption. That's strong, isn't it? Perpetual failure. But he would not have written that if it wasn't true. So we have to believe. There's no way around it. You can be saying over and over again, I am a success, I am a millionaire. But if we don't believe it, it's not going to bring forth any fruit. So faith is the most important thing to develop. Faith in this process. Faith in the imagination. Faith in God. In all the ages of history, faith has played a major role. It permeates all the great religions of the world. It is woven all through mythology, and yet today it is almost universally misunderstood. The Bible is full of many statements about faith, the true meaning of which few are aware. Here are some typical examples from Hebrews again, chapter 4, verse 2. Unto us was the gospel preached, as well as unto them. But the word preached did not profit them, not being mixed with faith in them that heard it. So they didn't benefit from it because they had no faith. In this quotation, the us and them make clear that all of us hear the gospel. Gospel means good news. Very obviously, good news for you would be that you had attained your desire. I don't think it just means that, but it does mean good news. That is the meaning of gospel, definitely. But there is more than that as well. It's about Jesus. It's about God. It's about the hereafter also, not just about the power within you to attain your desire. Because if it was just that, it would just be like the meaning of life is just to get things, get stuff. And we want things now. We're in the world. We do want things. And there's nothing wrong with that. But gospel has different levels, I believe. And the good news is that we have this great power within us. And there's so much more to it than just getting things. But I believe that as we do achieve our dreams and receive what we really want and pass through different states, we are going to go deeper into the spiritual life, and that will become much more important to us. I know without the spiritual side of life, it'd just be awful for me. If I'd already known it and then it was taken away from me, there's nothing Nothing greater than that. That's true riches. But it's important to prove it, to prove that this is all true, and it changes us, and we can help others more. So I think it is important to use the law of assumption and to achieve many things in this life. I diverge again, don't I? I just think it's important to say that it's not, the good news is not just that, but it is good news. Where am I up to now? Right, this is, as I say, good news. So this is always being preached to you by your infinite self. To hear that which you desire does exist, and you need only to accept it in consciousness, is good news. Not mixing with faith means to deny the reality of that which you desire. Hence, there is no profit, attainment possible. Matthew chapter 17, verse 17 says, "O faithless and perverse generation, how long shall I be with you?" That's what Jesus said to those of little faith. The meaning of faithless has been made clear. Perverse means turned the wrong way. In other words, the consciousness of not being what you want to be. To be faithless, that is, to disbelieve in the reality of that which you assume, is to be perverse. It's like the double-minded man that's mentioned in the Bible. You can't be both. You can't achieve what you want. Totally focused, that's what we need to be. How long shall I be with you? Means that the fulfillment of your desire is predicated upon your change to the right state of consciousness. It is just as though that which you desire is telling you that it will not be yours until you turn from being faithless and perverse to righteousness. It will not be yours. It's trying to help you to get it by telling you that. So that's nice, isn't it? Our desires are actually helping us to get them. As already stated, righteousness is the consciousness of already being what you want to be. Hebrews chapter 11, verse 27. By faith he forsook. I don't know, forsook. I don't know. It's forsook. By faith he forsook Egypt, not fearing the wrath of the king, for he endured as seeing him who is invisible. I'm going to use that word from now on in everyday reality, forsook, until it sounds normal to me. Egypt means darkness, belief in many gods, which are causes. The king symbolizes the power of outside conditions or circumstances. He is your concept of yourself as already being what you want to be. Enduring, as seeing him who is invisible, means persisting in the assumption that your desire is already fulfilled. Thus, this quotation means that by persisting in the assumption that you already are the person you want to be, you rise above all doubt, fear, and belief in the power of outside conditions or circumstances, and your world inevitably conforms to your assumption. Because there is often this feeling of, but how's it going to happen? And then you look at your situation in objective reality and it seems so far away. And that shows us that we are not, our faith is not strong enough yet. So we have to just keep going back to what faith is, where things actually come from, even though it looks like they're coming from an outside source. They are coming from within. The dictionary definitions of faith: the assent of the mind or understanding to the truth, unwavering adherence to principle, are so pertinent that they might well have been written with the law of assumption in mind. Faith does not question, faith knows. Very good. Faith does not question, faith knows. So to get to that level of feeling like we are knowing, we just know, there's no doubt there at all, we have to contemplate the idea that everything already exists until it goes deeper into ourselves and we just know how important it is to believe that it already exists and that by our belief we bring it into our world. That's the essence of it, which I'm sure many of you know. So I hope you liked that. I know I went off the subject a lot, but I'm just feeling like I need to talk a lot at the moment because I've been by myself all day. It's been very windy, and I'm going to do some writing now. I've had a few ideas recently of like different projects of writing that I really want to do, and I'm going to use this idea about faith, use the process to make them happen. And I feel very strongly that they are going to exist in a very successful way. I've got a lot of joy with it. And I really want to keep that joy, because what I notice happens sometimes, these ideas, which I think are very good, come to me and I don't follow through with them. I start them and then I lose faith because I look at my outside world and I'm tired and I come in and I don't want to do anything. And then it starts to fade a bit and I don't complete the idea and it makes me feel bad. So I am going to complete these ones and I'm going to keep trusting that they already exist and they will come to fruition. And I will direct you to this video clip when it happens. So it's 3 things about writing. So see if I can manifest them all. And then you'll go 1, 2, 3. Yes, you did it. And I'll tell you how it's going. And 1 is very weird. So if it's a success, this is definite evidence that it works. So I know you know that anyway. So let me know what you think. I'm sorry this has been so long. I'll make the next one a bit shorter. Look forward to hearing from you and all the best with your manifestations. Bye.